Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in to our election pod presented by Simple Math. I'm your host, King Bruman.
It's your boy, Mister.
What's going on? This is week 2 of our election pod coverage. I guess this week we got debates coming up in a few weeks, but we're going to take the next couple weeks to kind of do some background checks on the candidates that we have presented now.
Yes, sir.
This week we are going to cover, on today's pod, we're going to cover Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. And then, of course, next week we're going to cover Trump and
Mike Pence.
Mike Pence, excuse me. I keep forgetting.
Yeah, I do forget about Mike Pence a lot.
I don't think I've heard Mike Pence speak more than like 3 times.
Yeah,
ever.
right. It's
He's
not
in
very
background
entertaining.
like a bitch.
His highlight was walking out of the the football game when they kneeled that time.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So without further ado, we can jump right into things.
Yes, sir. Do we want? Well, I know where we want to start. We want to start with Mr. Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Mr. Joe Biden is from Delaware. He's a representative of
From
Delaware.
Pennsylvania, but was a Delaware.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to say. My bad. I tripped up there. He was representative from Delaware. He is the former vice president and vice presidential candidate.
Yeah. He was actually the longest running senator in Delaware history, which is crazy.
Yeah.
So I mean, he has a pretty decent track record, at least in his state.
Yeah, exactly. Joe Biden he's kind of a hometown E-Rock. He's one of those people that his constituents have always seemingly really liked him, really pushed for him, at least in the 08 and 12 elections with Obama. Joe is kind of just a nice guy.
Yeah.
He had a son that passed, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So
He's had a lot of hardship in that department with his family in general.
Yeah, he's had a lot of family problems.
But he's definitely his personality feels so substitute teacher.
Yeah. It does.
It's so casual when you're around Joe.
Yeah, he's very formally informal.
Yeah.
Or informally formal.
Yeah.
Like he's a seemingly comfortable person.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying that like I've ever met the guy, but from the way that his campaign tries to market him is that he is kind of the older uncle, cool uncle, kind of substitute teacher, strict but not too strict type person.
Yeah.
The kind of that they're trying to push Joe Biden. Oh God, I'm too much potted. Joe Biden as kind of middle ground. You know what I'm saying? You can't really hate the guy type thing because he's nice enough to be social, but then informed enough to be political.
Yeah,
it's kind of how his campaign is.
He's basically a watered down version of Bill Clinton, honestly.
Yeah, and more or less.
Bill Clinton was to say they had the same. You know what I'm saying? Although Joe Biden can't play the saxophone, so
I
give 1 extra point to Clinton for that. But.
That's very true.
But yeah, the same
but
kind
he
of
does
personality
know
type.
God.
Personality type. What's that again?
But he does know Charlemagne the God.
Yeah, that is crazy. That is crazy that he recognizes who that is.
Yeah, I mean
at his age, because you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, but he has to, especially running for the blue. He has to, you know what I'm saying, be in touch.
Yeah.
Remember, Hillary was out there Pokemon Go to the polls.
Oh man.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, he and the Biden campaign released yard signs for the Animal Crossing game for the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And probably most people playing Animal Crossing are grown as adults, so take that back. Sure. You know what I'm saying? So they have to connect with the quote-unquote younger audiences. Like, that's more vital now, especially in the Democratic Party than ever.
Yeah. Definitely, because I mean we add new voters every year.
Yeah,
so that young vote is something that's very pivotal every single year. So that's he's hopefully he'll keep it up, I guess. People do tend to like him. He does have his some red flags. You know what I'm saying, but we'll get into that.
But I said, do you want to give Kamala's overview before we get into Joe's?
Yeah.
Sorry, about to say yeah.
So,
it's your baby. I'm gonna let you
Kamala Harris, she is a former district attorney of San Francisco, also former attorney general of California.
And that was from 2010 to 2017, correct?
Right. and then from 2017 until now, she's been a senator. So she's fairly young in her political life, I guess. I
Yeah.
mean, because like I would assume like being something like an attorney is a little bit. It's a different game, I would imagine. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, I don't know the life of attorney.
In what way?
Of as far as
Well, she was the attorney general for all of California. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
she had way more of a job than
that is true.
just defending.
All right, who's on the books today?
She had a lot. She had a lot more going on than that.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. But nevertheless, her main thing has been she's very obviously by the nature of her position, she's been very focused on the crime factor.
Yeah.
That's kind of been most of her area of expertise, or lack thereof, according to some people. But
Yeah.
we'll leave that up to the people to determine. But of course, we'll get into a little bit more details. But she is she seemed to be very favorable. I mean, everyone's gonna have people that disagree, but she seems to have a good connection on some level with people. It's kind of like you love her or hate her type.
Well, that I feel like a big part of Kamala Harris is she's just like Obama. You've got like an abbreviated political history before they run for office. They have an agreeable image for the party. You know what I'm saying? Like
it's a perfect story.
Yeah, hers is just a perfect story. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's a perfect story, because if Biden decides not to run again, and if he wins and then doesn't run again in 2022, or not 2022, 2022.
Yeah.
Wait, no, it's 2020 now. 2024. I'm sorry, I was living 2 years in the past. If she decides to run as president instead of vice president, it'd be the perfect setup.
Yeah.
Because then she could spend 12 years in office essentially.
That would be absurd.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
just big brain.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, but I think they found. Although she is young as far as like being in Washington, I think that they really like her. Like looking forward, I think she's probably going to be the next. Like you said, they're kind of set. I think this is the setup for her.
Yeah, because she's only 55, so she's at that kind of prime age. She's not too old, not too young. She's ethnic. Whatever she claims to be that day, she's ethnic.
Checks all the boxes.
Man. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? A woman, it works. It works all the way around for the platform and for Joe, having her as a running mate. And then, like I said, for setting things up like later on down the line.
Yeah.
I guess since she's a vice presidential candidate and she has, I guess, a little less pull, we'll go through her political history first.
Okay.
Makes sense to you?
Yeah, that's straight.
Under her tenure as the district attorney of San Francisco, correct? Yeah, I'm correct on that. She raised the felony conviction rate from 50 to 76% in less than 10 years, which is a good and bad thing. I'll explain that if somebody doesn't get that. Essentially, you're going to get, let's say you get 100 cases. You get 100 cases that you get a prosecution on. She went from getting 50 of those cases to be felonies to having 76 of those cases becoming felonies, which means either the police that does not mean the police were doing more diligent work. It means they were pursuing heavier charges.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that more arrests were made or more police work was done. Her as district attorney just made more deals in her favor.
Yeah.
Because what people don't realize is when you are an attorney, your conviction rate matters a lot.
Yep. That's everything. That's your record.
Exactly.
That's your rate my professor, like we go online in school.
Yep. And especially if you're a district attorney, that's damn near all that matters. And then when you're getting them on felony convictions, so that makes it look like you're busting the worst of the worst. When in fact all you're doing is making better deals or just finding people and putting them in shittier situations. Yeah. It's not actually doing more police work or anything like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm glad that you made that distinction.
Yeah.
Because that, wording is everything, saying that's how they try to, say being her lawyer, but she's gonna dress. They're gonna dress it up nice to make it seem
Yeah,
like.
exactly.
But we already know what it really is.
Yeah, exactly. Because according to the San Francisco Chronicle, from 03 to 06,
Yeah.
her drug convictions alone went from 56 to 74. So that means that could be something as simple as she started charging motherfuckers with weed charges for having a bowl on them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Things like that.
Yeah, that's crazy. But that is wild. Like she's very aggressive.
Yeah.
Now her whole thing was though, she has flip flopped on the on some of the harsher crimes, like far as like death penalty.
Yeah.
She kind of depends on what the tide is she's for it or
yeah, whatever everybody else says.
She's a little she can flip flop on some of her positions, but far as like the police work is involved, she seems to be pretty in
in line with everything else.
Pretty diligent. The other agenda that she was a part of, it was a truancy issue in California.
Yes,
and she tried to lead an initiative that brought legal charges against parents of habitual truants. So
that's everywhere. I mean, I know they have that in Virginia. I didn't know in Virginia that's a thing.
Really?
Yeah, if that in Virginia, that's a thing.
Really?
Yeah.
See, this is the thing. I think it's it's not an opinion show. It's not an opinion show. It's not an opinion show. But that is wild. I don't know how to miss that.
Yeah, truancy police is a thing in a lot of places.
Well, I know there's actual police that handle that.
Yeah, then the parents will get charged. I know in Virginia, your parents will get charged if you don't go to school.
Really? That's crazy.
Yeah, that's not crazy.
But see, I would think it would be harder in a dealing with a. I guess if she's going over the state, I guess that kind of makes sense. I gotta remember, was this part of the district when she was district attorney in San Fran, or was this I gotta brush up on that. I didn't make that distinction.
I gotta go back. If you want to go ahead,
what difference that makes.
But if you want to go ahead and clear that up, you can. And if you want to look that up,
I'm gonna look that up.
Yeah, but no, that's a thing I know. Yeah, that's kind of positive. I mean, that is something. That's another catch-22 thing, because a lot of parents, if you got kids, you gotta work. You don't know that you trust your kids to go to school. So
how many times have you seen kids just go to school and just walk off the bus and just don't go in?
Exactly.
Like, I mean, I agree that there should be some like stipulation, but like you said, someone has to go to work. I mean, I don't know. That's kind of messed up. That was a
law.
Yeah,
it's
a necessary law, but an unfair law to some degree.
Yeah,
because you're also financially penalizing.
It targets specific communities, is what it does.
Yep.
It targets specific communities. When she was Attorney General of California, okay, never mind. Fuck it, I tried to make a joke. She made an agreement with major tech companies like Apple, Google, Amazon, and Microsoft that required them to disclose like what information they were getting with us and who they were sharing it with.
Yeah.
And this is a huge thing, actually, because I know, even if you haven't watched, I'll tell you, Facebook has been in the Supreme Court a lot lately, a lot of these tech companies, because of data, privacy, information sharing, just those things.
Yeah.
And for her to lead that initiative in a place like California, where a lot of these tech startups are starting up.
That's where they're born.
You know what I'm saying? That is a step we're going to need. Because this is totally off topic, and this is not an opinion thing. Just something I was speaking with someone else with a few days ago. I was saying public internet didn't come around until about 94. Same year we were born. That takes less than 30 years. We're here now. There are no real rules for the internet yet. You got to realize revenge porn was still technically totally legal until a few years ago. The internet is still so crowdsourced that it hasn't been regulated yet, and it's going to be things like this that are going to start the regulation of the internet.
Yeah.
Just wanted to get that out there.
Yeah.
But back on topic.
And I believe this was in 2000. It was either 14 or 15.
Yeah.
But I would say a lot of companies have fallen in line kind of with that agenda. Like now on any app now they got to go through that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That shit's not going to go. It's not going to happen anymore. Data privacy and information sharing is going to be a huge thing. I feel like in this upcoming, like the debates, when we finally get to those.
Yeah.
Because that's a huge thing.
Yeah, cybersecurity is going to, it's in.
Yeah, cybersecurity is a better word.
Like that,
yeah.
That's an increasing, that's something we got to get, we will have to get a
that's
jump
on. That's a threat
on.
not only to individuals, but the entire American system as we know it.
Yeah.
That's the problem, too.
Yeah. Few other things. She did oppose Proposition 8, which would have banned same-sex marriage in the state. She has been in favor of increased minimum wage. She's been pretty vocal about that. And then, and this was one of, I think was a good bullet point for her. She there was when the financial crisis was happening in the country with the foreclosures. 2008.
Yeah.
Basically the banks would give out loans for mortgages for people that they knew they weren't going to put back because they would claim the losses and get it right back in it's some way you can write off the losses. I can't think of the specific word for it. But basically fucking over a bunch of people. Now this was when she was Attorney General of California. She did get a $20 million settlement, and got some of that money, and set up, I believe, like some assistance programs to help people that had been affected by that.
That is.
So that, I thought that was a good little checkpoint for her.
Yeah.
She's really bright. I think she has a really a lot of potential. She seems to just she has that lawyer thing about her.
So she's just said there.
Once she really locks down on, and a lot of this will happen because like once she gets more like ingrained into the party.
Yeah, like I said, most of these people are incredibly intelligent. Not incredibly intelligent, are intelligent enough because they have degrees, and you know what I'm saying. Like that is a thing. Like very rarely can you call a political candidate actually not smart.
Yeah.
But you want to move on to Joe, or do you got?
Yeah.
You got anything else on?
I think that's pretty much Kamala in a nutshell. So yeah, definitely be on the lookout for her. I do think she's the best candidate the Dems have right now for a future. So I definitely would keep an eye on her.
I'm not giving my opinion on that.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I feel you. I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. For them, not saying it.
Yeah, fair enough.
You know what I'm saying. Anyway.
All right, so we got some pretty big. My bad.
Go ahead.
Keep walking over you. We actually got some pretty big bulletin points for Mr. Joe Biden.
Yeah.
I keep wanting to say Joe Budden, so every time we say his name, you're gonna have to say it so that I don't make that slip up. We can start with Social Security if you want to start with that.
Yeah. So this is a good or bad thing, but for what it is, he did push to freeze federal spending in 1995, which included Social Security. This is a quote I got from BBC. It said, "When I argued that we should freeze federal spending, I meant Social Security as well." He said, he goes on to say, "I meant every single solitary thing in the government." He said, "And I not only tried it once, I tried it twice, tried it a third time, tried it a fourth time." I think he's kind of flip-flopped, walked back his statement. Now he's kind of on the agenda of he's actually wanting to expand the program and tax the rich. I think a lot of times you got to understand, I guess, the political climate, what it was in 1995 that would guide that decision. So that's important to kind of look into and kind of come to your own conclusions about, what that means. Because, I mean, it's very, I don't want to oversimplify. Yeah, he voted to freeze Social Security spending, but what else was in that bill? I guess is the deeper layers that we can all look into down the road. Abortion issue. He did vote on a measure that denied women the right to use Medicaid dollars or any public funds for an abortion. I think either today might actually be the anniversary of the Hyde Amendment. I think I was looking at on ACLU's Instagram. I believe the Hyde Amendment was anniversary today.
That's actually
they basically tried to overturn Roe versus Wade.
Yeah, and yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Which is now about to be overturned again. If the depending, that's another thing we're going to have to talk. That's going to Roe v. Wade is going to be another big talking point.
Yeah.
In this upcoming election.
Yeah.
Especially with appointing Supreme Court justices and such, which we'll get to a later episode of this podcast. I don't want to get too off track.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is going to be it's wild. That was something that we were taught in school as almost like it was taught as a landmark, and now it's maybe on the verge of being erased.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
It is the anniversary month. It's not the anniversary day.
Anniversary month. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Fair enough. Trade. Biden has been a consistent supporter of maintaining the North American Free Trade Agreement. For most of us, it's known as NAFTA. His counterpart has been a main proponent of, amending or possibly getting away of NAFTA.
Yeah.
And what I just brought up is just some general, pros and cons. I don't want to even say pros and cons. I want to say, even though it's been out so long, there is kind of a general consensus based off what we've gathered, the information of how it's performed.
Yeah.
But I'll go through it and just let everybody else decide what they think.
I'm about to say, don't tell which one is which. Just go through the list. Yeah. Or how you had them split.
Yeah. Okay. It may or may not have increased foreign investment. Basically, the NAFTA would basically opened up Canada and Mexico as basically major trade partners without some of the trade restrictions or tariffs, essentially is what it did. Mexico, I know, it reduced some of the imports of oil that we were getting from Mexico. I know that was one of the biggest things. And then also it extended for some of the government contracts for that America had for far as like different industries. It opened up for Canada and Mexico to be able to be competitive in that market. One of the I guess I'm trying to think of the word assumptions about the North American Free Trade Agreement. Job losses. Job losses was a big thing, that the people thought that because
you can export the work to other countries instead of building factories.
Exactly.
Essentially, NAFTA it allows us to build factories in other places, but still make the money and still get the product back to America and vice versa.
Yeah.
Basically,
it can discourage things like unions, because if you try to establish a union within the company says, "Oh, well, we're just going to move our product overseas," and then you're out of.
Exactly.
It's
about where you want the work.
Yeah.
Where do you want the work to happen? That's more or less what it is. Like, where do you want this work to occur? Where is it more financially feasible for this work to occur? That's what NAFTA is. It allows everybody to kind of use other people's land to determine.
Thank you, mister. I try to say it without sounding non-biased.
I
try to find a way.
To let you use other people's land and
okay.
your financial gains or losses as far as industry goes. The crime bills, I want to get on those.
Yeah, okay.
The 94 Violent Crime Control and Law Enforcement Act, which everybody knows about nowadays. It's kind of like the big stain on the 90s as far as urban living goes, because this is what directly led to the largest increase in prison population in U.S. history. And Joe Biden did, in fact, vote in favor of it. He wrote it, matter of fact. He actually wrote the bill himself. And it was so that he could get stricter sentencing for drug charges and violent charges. And it's because in the 80s they had crack, which ruined it. Crack in the heroin in the 70s and 80s in the crack. Try that one more fucking time. Heroin in the 70s and crack in the 80s ruined the family system in the inner cities, like the family structure in the inner cities. Therefore, that's what led to the rise of rampant drug dealing by kids and stuff like that. Gangs and shit is a direct byproduct of those two epidemics. So they said, what we'll do is we'll make the punishment harsher, not realizing that you're targeting a very specific community, especially when you enact things like the three strike law, which says if you have 2 felonies, your third conviction is a life sentence.
No matter what.
Yeah, no matter what, that third conviction is a life sentence, which most people in prison now are a direct victim of the 3 strikes law. And it's not, you know what I'm saying, not by a mile. That's why last time when I was talking about prison reform, I said it's really hard because you've got to give reparation to these guys that, you know what I'm saying? So that's where we get the ball rolling on that kind of conversation.
Yeah.
But that is that's the biggest thing that's affected. The 1994 crime bill was maybe not our generation, but maybe the 10 years before us.
Yeah.
That was their crack.
Yeah.
Like social media is that was their crack. That was the ether. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's where they put it. They put it there, and that was their crack. How many white men that? You know what I'm saying? How many, you know what I'm saying, where they weren't in West Rochester with it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They were in Brooklyn and Queens and shit like that.
Ain't lying.
But that's just facts.
Yeah. Absolutely. He also had. Did you have any other thing touch up?
Oh no, I was just going. You can go ahead and hit
Yeah. So that's definitely crime. The bills that we're gonna have, or I guess the discussion that's gonna be had on that is gonna be very interesting come time for election and debates. Because I think that's something that's gonna.
They're gonna definitely
that's gonna definitely swing the pendulum.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I think a lot. But anyway, Joe Biden did have the Violence Against Women Act. It provided $1.6 billion to investigate and prosecute violent crimes against women. Let's see. allowed victims to sue their attackers in civil court, even if prosecutors didn't proceed criminally. Which that was out. I think that's pretty much straightforward. How good that is. I mean, anything that further emboldens, us to protect
other people,
women, especially involving violent crimes. I'm all for.
Yeah.
So I gotta give him a thumbs up on that one. Joe Biden has been a proponent of gay marriage as well.
Yeah, he's never been one to hate on gay marriage. Yeah. He did vote for the war in 2002.
Yeah, and I don't really. That situation was very delicate.
Hey, we're not here to judge his choices.
Saying? Yeah. Absolutely. Almost got me.
Yeah, okay. We're not here to judge his choices.
Thanks for the save. Thanks for the save.
Thanks
for the save.
Yeah, you're welcome. But now he did vote for the war in 2002.
Now, where do you think? How much attention do you think foreign policy would?
It's going to have to be huge. Because NAFTA and us pulling out of WHO and stuff like that, that's going to be. Foreign policy is a lot more than just military.
I'm saying in regards to not specifically involving like the military aspect, not necessarily trade. Like what role do you think does that still play a role? Because we still have an overseas presence.
I mean, yeah, but if we're not, this will be something that we have to wait for the debates for. Because he's not. It's not like he was ever in the military. You know what I'm saying? And I mean,
no, I think Joe Biden did serve. Actually, I think he was drafted. He was drafted.
I wasn't talking Joe Biden.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
Oh, I'm
so
sorry. Okay.
Like it, you can. I fucked up on that one. My bad.
No, you good.
I made that unclear. No, that's going to have to be something we have to wait for the debates.
Okay.
Because I don't think. What is pertinent right now over like ISIS was a really hotbed topic. Like we needed to find a way to figure out ISIS, but we don't have a ISIS or anything right now.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? We cool and we're kind of figuring out what the fuck the
We're gonna
pandemic.
stand by.
The pandemic
Yeah,
shutting
world
down the
gonna stand
world.
by.
Yeah. Yeah, the pandemic shutting down the world. I think is. I don't even think people really remember the military at this point.
Yeah.
Not for real, but in jest speaking.
Yeah.
I don't know if people even remember the military at this point.
Yeah, it's not on their immediate minds.
Exactly. I don't know. I don't think that there's anything we've missed that was too big of a thing. I think that we've got a pretty good wrap up as to what their important history is. I think we've given a good picture as to who's on that left side of the ticket.
Absolutely.
Shit, man.
Yeah. So again, next week we are going to dive a little deeper into the right side, and we're going to get some information on Trump and Mike Pence to have for you. Just kind of, like I said, we're just doing background checks. We're not giving political opinions. At least I'm trying not to. We're just giving you the information so everybody's informed of what everybody's doing. But I think we're clear here. Everyone stay safe. We will catch you next Friday.
Thank you. This has been Between the Numbers. Peace.